So, my dear Virgo, the Earth has continued its path, and we see, of course, now behind the Sun, the constellation Sagittarius, and Sagittarius here in the Medicine Woman Tarot. We see the blending of the two cups, and that's, of course, not easy. Because when we blend, we might cancel out the opposites, and we don't want that, right? We want to blend, we want to mix. And so here we see this really beautiful angel, and the angel has that grandeur to actually do it in a very careful and, of course, gentle way. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter, of course, is becoming big as this angel. And so the light from the sun to the moon that is now in your sign, here in Salvador Dali's deck, you get Luca Pacioli. He was like a master in calculations and in mathematics. He was a genius, basically, and he put him here in this card. And it's really interesting because I love numbers. I really do. I am a Virgo, but in my court card, I am the Queen of Swords. So it's very interesting how I have these two personalities through the major arcana and, of course, through the court card. You are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the language and is also the mind that is actually analytically understanding the numbers. And so here comes, of course, the message that yes, you can become big like an angel, because we have the 9, which is the completion, and then here the 10 and the 4, which is in a way the next step, plus the 4 then creates a 5. And so the Emperor is in here in the Sagittarius energy. The 9th house of philosophy, and you are the 6th house of health. And so the yoga position for Sagittarius is Paschimottanasana. You find your guardian angel deep within you. And for you, I have here, of course, mountain pose. You're up in the mountain, seeing your future and your past self in the present moment, and helping in that sense others to come up at the mountain as well. Your court card here in Salvador Dali's tarot, you are the Caballero de Oros, and you are much more happy in this deck than in the Rider-Waite. In the Rider-Waite you have a black horse. Here you walk into the left. The left path is to the soul, and the right path is out as a human to the full moon, right? So now we're reading to the right because you are getting your full moon pretty soon in the month of Pisces, right? That's your opposite sign. And so if your birthday is between August 13 and September 11th, then is this your court card? If not, please look in the description below. I have listed, of course, all the cards down there. Back to the last reading, you had Scorpio Sun giving the Virgo Moon the light, and the message was make peace within and the without follows. Now the interesting thing is you had here the Wheel of Fortune, and Temperance is ruled by Jupiter, but so is the Wheel of Fortune. And in this month we're gonna not look what Pluto is saying, because that was in Scorpio month. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. We are now looking into the Wheel of Fortune, right? What is the Wheel of Fortune wanting to tell you? And here we see, of course, make peace within and the without follows. So it's clear, right? We have to find deep within us the peace, and then the rest follows. So I'm going to pick a card on the position of the Wheel of Fortune. I'm using the Mystical Moment Tarot. I have listed all the tarot decks that I'm using below. in my description. And so we're going to see what the Wheel of Fortune is bringing you. Well, we have here Miss Sunshine, the number 17, which is the star. And the sun is a dwarf star in our solar system. And you are now called to be in the center of it. Now, if I put the 10 above, calculating it together, we get a 27. Here, we get an 8, and calculated together, we get a 9. It's interesting because the 8 is that infinite knowledge, the inhale and the exhale, and the 9 is then the completion. When we realize that everything is infinite, then we can step out of it. And so you are being called to have that happy-go-lucky energy from Jupiter, right? Is it luck? Is it something that you know about? Or are you just simply understanding that the change is imminent? Always, right? Change in the weather, in everything, right? One day it rains, one day the sun is there. We have the change, and that's good. And a lot of people don't like it, right? It's the most constant energy there is change, right? And it's an oxymoron in itself. So here you have the 8 or the 9, right? And so the 9 speaks to you straight away. We recognize in, of course, the star, the 17, also Aquarius, right? Which is an air sign, and Aquarius is hope that we never let go of. And so she brings that to you right now, maybe in a time of difficulties, maybe in a time where you need to blend, maybe in a time where calculation isn't really the answer anymore, but how you feel when you calculate, right, these numbers together. So we're going to read to the right and continue the path towards your full moon. And we begin on the position of the Fool. Comes the Devil. The 15 is then, of course, here the 5 senses that we get attached to, and the 6th sense is always here in the 3rd eye. We allow ourselves to liberate us from the attachment of the 5 senses, right, here in this dimension. And then when we calculate it together, we get a 6. So the 0 then here, the 150, right, is creating the number. And there is that infinite potential now to break free. And you see this person behind the Fool who is going to the right in this card, right? In some cards, the Fool goes to the left. What's really interesting, we see a face here on the belly of the Devil. And it's always that gut feeling that maybe is now talking to you and helping you to be like, okay, I am aware of my gut feeling. I'm aware that certain situations are difficult, are making me attached. And so here you are called to really look why you feel attached, why you feel trapped, right? Why is this? But then in the end, this could also just be a Capricorn, right? That is helping you to also create a social status that you may be wishing for. On the position of the Magician comes the Sacrifice. Now, this is, of course, a very interesting combination, right? We see that she's sacrificing something to the Devil. It's almost like she is worshipping the Devil. And we have here immediately a portal, the 44. And I leave portals, right? Because a 44, I wouldn't add the 1, then we get a 45, and that's the 9. So very interesting, right? You can pick, of course, which directions you want to go, right? We can either keep the one and the only, the magician. Here, Salvador Dali put himself into the place of the magician. And then we recognize that the sacrifice here to the one, right? The one that's left. And here's also one, and of course the five senses. Then we understand sometimes the cult of the devil, right? Because people have to sacrifice something, so the devil gives them something in return, right? Success or whatever they're asking for. But sometimes what they have to sacrifice is something that is much more valuable than money. It is love. It is something that cannot be bought by money. And so have a look, right? Really look into it and recognize that something is talking here to you in a very deep level. Now I wanted to see what is the sacrifice that you are giving here, apparently the devil. And the sacrifice is the Six of Wands. And so here we see that the constellation Jupiter in Leo, and Jupiter is here connected, right, with Sagittarius. And Leo was the reading before. We can recognize now that the Six of Wands is talking about a woman. She is a leader who has risen and taken her place on a wheel of fire. Now when I turn it around, you will see the peace sign here in this card, but it's the other way around. Really interesting, right? And she is really with her legs apart. Now upright, this card means she has become a leader or winner. She experiences a burst of fire and creative energy, which is like an affirmation, a big yes. So in a way, you are sacrificing now to the devil that all the winnings, that all that energy that you get by giving him here, when we look deeper into her hand, she's offering him. We don't really see what it is, right? I don't know what that is. Maybe you can see what that is and let me know. But the sacrifice is something that when we understand it, is sometimes positive and sometimes, of course, negative, right? And I just want to see here for a moment what Alberto Villoldo is saying here. To sacrifice means to make sacred. The sacrifice is an offering of gratitude made from the heart, a feast of love prepared for spirit. In olden days, a sacrifice sometimes involved rituals in which blood was offered to gods. For example, in the Bible, Yahweh preferred Abel's sacrifice of one of his lambs to Cain's offering of vegetables and fruits. In Middle America, however, Quetzalcoatl, the Lord of the Dawn, came to teach that spirit preferred our songs and our prayers to the blood of humans or animals. The invitation. The sacrifice asks that you offer to spirit that which is most precious to you. Your offering will be sanctified and returned tenfold. You will be elevated to the altar at which you have been praying and meet the divine at the table with the heavenly feast. You are a welcome guest in this banquet. Your heart is the only worthy offering you can bring. Life has been generous with you in so many ways. Now, what's really interesting, right? Because, we have the devil here. He's like looking over her. She's like offering. And this is Jupiter in Leo. Leo is the heart. So are you offering your heart to the devil? Is that what you're doing, right? And so here comes a very interesting story, right? We have, of course, the 44, which is a portal. Then we have the 1 and the 6, right? And so here's a 6-6 portal, 2 times the 6. But if I add the 1, we have a 7 here. And the 7 is then the higher consciousness, is the crown chakra. And so this Christ consciousness, right? It's in a way, the 6 is Christ consciousness. I am here, a leader. I can understand what I'm doing here, right? I am not giving it to the devil. I am giving it to something that I am understanding is the goat, the highest climber up into the mountain. And so you can always see it from many different levels, right? But always be vigilant, right? When, of course, something like the devil comes up, then on the position of the high priestess comes the Scorpio, the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is the 8th zodiac sign, the 8th house of reincarnation. And he is literally behind her. It's almost like, well, then you are reincarnating. Then you are seeing that the Prince of the Chariot of Waters is here supporting her in her sacrifice, right? In her offering, in her giving. And so the 2 and the 8 is a 10. The intuition is bringing you then the Wheel of Fortune. And on the Wheel of Fortune, you have here Miss Sunshine, right? So there is hope that it's not something negative, that it is something that you think maybe the devil is really existing, but it doesn't exist. It's us humans who create these negativities, and then of course we had to create something that depicts this negative. The way we have God, we also said now we have the devil, but the devil doesn't exist because like God exists deep within us, so the devilish nature exists deep within us. It's that beast side, is that negative side that we can fall prey into. And so here Scorpio is coming, and back then, make peace within and the without follows, right? And so you see that here is a message which you definitely have to look deeper within, right? Because he is supporting her right behind here. Then, on the position of the Empress comes Justice. And here in Oswald Wirth, Justice is the number 8. And so we have an 8 portal because he's the 8th zodiac sign or the 8th house of reincarnation. And so Justice, the 8 and the 3 creates an 11, a portal. And here she gives birth to Libra. Libra is the balance, the inner beauty, because Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is beauty and love. And so you are looking deeper into what is talking here to you, because this would be an 8 as well, right? Then you have an 8 portal, 3 times 8. And so have a look, always have a look at the whole picture, because these first 4 cards is a state of consciousness in your mind, right? So be observant. On the position then of the Hermit comes the Magician. Now, the Magician is the one that has power over all 4 elements, and you, the number 9, plus the 1 is the 10. So, in your subconscious, you know the Wheel of Fortune is talking to you. You know the Wheel of Fortune is talking to you here through the 6 of Wands, right? Jupiter in Leo. And so the Wheel of Fortune is bringing you little Miss Sunshine, right? Go up into the sky, because the 17 becomes also an 8, right? So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 times the 8, right? And so you recognize that little Miss Sunshine is helping you, because the 17 becomes the 18, and the 18 then becomes the 9. So you are here. You are recognizing that you are now finally becoming a magician. Finally, from the 9, you're getting to the 10, and the 10 is the next one, is that next step that you always want, right? And so observe and watch. Then on the position of the Caballero de Oros comes here the King of Pentacles, which here Salvador Dali put himself in this position. And interesting enough, this is a Taurus, and Taurus is, of course, the one that has the money, the one that is wealthy in the understanding of how we work with money. And so the sixth zodiac sign, which is interesting, right? Here the six portal plus, of course, the six of the devil. So you see now, the reason why you here in Salvador Dali red is because you are actively now taking charge of what you want. You're using your third eye, you're using the inner knowledge to actually create whatever it is that you want to create right now. So the 6 and the 2 creates again an 8. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the 8. 5 times the 8 is like, now you speak about the empowerment that you are witnessing. Now you are living it, and you can, through Taurus, ground yourself, right? Bring it down to the earth, bring it down into fruition, because, I mean, he's a rich man, right? And he knows how to handle this amount of money. Then on the position of the Temperance, here, of course, the blending comes the apprentice of stones. The apprentice are the pages, and the pages are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, right? We have Capricorn, we have Taurus, and of course, we have Virgo here. So all three are talking here, and the 14 plus the 3 creates the 17. The 17 is, again, the star, right, is the star, Miss Sunshine, and we get another 8. So 6 times 8, wow. The third eye is clearly now empowering you through the 3 earth signs, right? You have help through a Capricorn, through a Taurus, and you are seeing now the empowerment here that you are bringing to the earth your ideas, and that the sacrifice that you brought here, that you didn't do a blood sacrifice, that you are offering here a fruit, right? It looks like a fruit or a flower. That's why you're not feeling any other negativity here, right? Because it's really important that you understand also that here Scorpio is bringing you a clear understanding to awaken, to really awaken, right? Awaken in the empowerment, right? The empowerment of knowing what money can do with you, but if you have the help of other earth signs, they're going to help you to not fall into that trap. Now, Temperance in Salvador Dali looks like this. I know. And so we have the little wings of the devil. So there is this angelic figure, but at the same time there are here these red rings. And it's really interesting, right? It's like there is something, right, in your life that is actually helping you to mix and to blend really what Temperance is doing, right? Mixing and blending water and fire. And so I think it's really cute, right? That you have here the white and the red united, right? And that's the schools, right? That's the duality that we need to combine, that we need to understand that it's working on us. And so you have the help, you have the apprentice of the stones. Then on the position of the moon, your opposite sign, right, Pisces, comes here, drifter, the experiencing life as it comes. The 14 is Temperance, right? Temperance, the 14, we have the 5, and the 9 creates 14, and the 5 is left. So deep in your subconscious, you are awakening, because on the position of the moon came also the Magician. And so you are seeing something. You are recognizing something. And I wanted to see what are you recognizing by going with the flow, right? by taking life just as it comes. And there comes, of course, the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is then the 12, the 1 and the 2. The 1 is here, the Magician, right? The 2 is, of course, then the High Priestess came, Scorpio, diving deep into your emotions, allowing to flow. Then the 3 calculated together, the 5 and the 3 is again an 8. Oh my God, I mean, you just have 8s, right? You have here 1 8, then in a way you have here the 8, 2, then you have this 8, 3, then you have this 8, 4, then you have this 8, 5, then you have this 8, 5 and 3, 6, and now you have here 7 8s. 7th chakra, the highest point, to see that going with the flow is to let go of wanting to be right, of wanting to do things the way people think you need to be doing it. Do it the way you think you need to be doing it, because the 7 is also the Chariot, the success, and there's a true success coming to you, right? By allowing to just sometimes hang in there and let things flow, let them drift and let them come to you. Wow. 7 times 8, right? It's going to be in the front of the reading. Then on the position of the Sun comes here the water, the creation, the number 29. So the 29 creates here, of course, an 11, and the 19 is a 10. So the 10 and the 11 is 3 times the 1, and the 11 is, of course, always understand that you had here a 10, right? And so you have 4 times the 1, and so 4 times the heart, 4 times are the 4 elements, and the emotional depth by letting things flow is coming to you, and the Sun is bringing you that, right? The Sun is saying, yes, then you can just flow, right? Flow with what is. And so I wanted to see, what is it that you want to flow? And here comes the Shaman of Swords. And the Shaman of Swords is Aquarius, right? The 17, that little Miss Sunshine, and he is the 11th zodiac sign. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the 1, right? 5 times the 1, and you had here an 11, right? And so 7 times the 1. It's chasing the 8, right? The 1 is chasing the 8. The 1 and the 8 are chasing each other in. Now we have 7 times 8, 7 times 1, right? And you see that the message is strong, right? Aquarius is here to help you to also see the depth in the water, in knowing that the age of Aquarius is upon us. Pluto is going next year into Aquarius. So there's a big shift. We are recognizing more and more that the technology is important, that we learn from it and that we don't get attached from it, because then on the position of the world, right, here in Salvador Dali, the world always looks a little bit like it's imprisoned. We have the 3 graces that are attached to the world, but we have the Queen of Cups coming. You have the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. And so here comes the Cancer. Cancer is connected with the Chariot, right? And the Chariot is the emotional success over maybe financial success, right? Recognize that. Over the 6 and the 1, right? That was also a 7 here. When I don't calculate the sacrifice as the 44 together, we get a 7 here and the 44. So you see now that there is an emotional depth. She is standing here in the water, and she is now going even deeper down. And it's almost like the deeper you go into your emotions, the more you stay young in your heart, in your feelings. And so I think here the Cancer energy, opposite of the Capricorn energy, right? The devil is the opposite in the next month reading. We have the sun in Capricorn and the full moon in Cancer. And so somehow this is talking to you, right? That the emotional fulfillment is way more important than the financial climbing up the ladder. Recognize that, see that, and feel that, because Little Miss Sunshine is bringing that to you as the Wheel of Fortune, right? You are seeing the 8 here getting to become a 9, and the 9 is then, of course, you, and you had the 9 that became a 10, right, through the Magician. So see that everything here is really mystical, talking to you, the emotional understanding here that the world is in pain, always, but you can help by helping the 3 graces, hope, love, and belief, that you are connecting always to your heart, always to your deeper emotions, always to the creation of life, and that you are doing whatever it takes to help that, because the number 4 and the 21 calculated together, the 3 is the 7, right? And so the 7 is talking as the crown chakra, 7 times 1 and 7 times 8. So here it is, right? Yes, you can be successful. Yes, you can have whatever you want, but stay connected to your heart. Stay emotionally connected and win whatever you want to win. Win it from an emotional level, because then you can beat literally the devil. Wow. What an amazing reading. I hope I see you in the next reading, because, I mean, yes, the devil is here, right? And yes, maybe the full moon here in Cancer, in the month of Capricorn, is talking here to you. So until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.